G'day everyone, Brian here, and just came into Elephant Plains in the last 10 minutes. Elephant Plains at Game Lodge, and we're back for the 6th time, and it's pretty typical of people to come here multiple times. It is the best value lodge in Sabi Sands, best value lodge, especially considering the traversing rights they have with some of the other lodges around here, which means we can all traverse on the other properties in search of especially leopards and then lions. So this is the place for leopards, and that's mainly what we're here for. Hopefully catch up with some old friends like Tiani, the blue-eyed female who's around 11 years old, and we first saw her in 2016, and her blue-eyed cub who's now about say 15-16 months old, and we've got Shadulu, I think's got a couple of cubs, and we were just told that Tiani's been mating with the dominant male here, the tortoise and pan male. But it's great to be back. This is going to be part one of a two-part series for 2026 of Elephant Plains. There's some monkeys going nutso in the background, but part two, because we're in a suite for a couple of nights, and then in 2 weekends we come back and we stay at one of the rondavels here for 4 nights. So super excited. It's like coming back home again, and we're going to go out on safari in a couple of hours after a spot of lunch, but great to be back, and I'll talk to you soon. After that first quiet game drive in the afternoon/evening, we got back to the lodge, and we're enjoying our welcome back drinks. Got talking to one of the front office staff and mentioned that it was a quiet drive by Sabi Sands standards. And one of the other vehicles pulled up, they got off, and the guest was saying that they'd spent time with Shadulu, the female leopard, and her 2 cubs. So by that I knew they were around, and I couldn't quite understand why we didn't go over and join the groups over there to spend time with Shadulu and the cubs. Sabi Sands is the greatest place on earth to see leopards, especially up close. And I've known Shadulu for around a decade now, since she was a cub. But she'd made this impala kill, and I did request with our guide in the morning that if she was still in the area with the cubs, that we would go over there and spend some time with them, which we ended up doing. And as you can see, beautiful light. The cubs were in stunning condition, and they were very, very active. They were in the grass, they were climbing fallen logs, they were climbing up the tree and down the tree. Shaduli was just finishing off the last of the impala. Nothing left for the cubs, but as you can see, as I mentioned, in beautiful condition. So they definitely had a very good feed. She came down onto the grass, and eventually one of the cubs came over, and they had a nice cuddle and a play around. We then went off and had our morning tea break, spent that over at Arathusa Dam. Arathusa is one of the other lodges in the area, and we can traverse on their property. And we were just hanging around chatting, and there was hippos in the dam. We then kind of went back to the lodge, just cruising. Once you've had a leopard sighting like we had here, then everything else is a bonus. So seeing our zebras and our impalas and giraffe and things like that. But, superb morning game drive with the leopards. And I will catch up soon in this video with another summary of our last 2 game drives on this part 1 of our return to Elephant Plains and the Sabi Sands in 2026. G'day, Brian here. So going to talk about our last couple of game drives, our 2-night stay at one of the suites in Elephant Plains Game Lodge. Definitely a very popular game lodge in the Sabi Sands, definitely the best value and certainly one of the best traverses where we can go on different properties apart from Elephant Plains private concession, and obviously there's a lot of communication between all the vehicles from the various lodges on that traverse between them. So if there's decent sighting or there's a sighting or tracks or anything, they will communicate. It's actually, a very decent sized traverse that they had. But after seeing Shadulu, the female leopard, and her cubs in the morning, which was amazing. I've known Shadulu since she was known as the young Ingrid Dam female, and used to see her mother back in the day when she was around the Ingrid Dam female. But it's great to see her. We had really, really good light. The cubs were active, so that was a great one in the morning. So we went out at night, and we were kind of just moving around the lodge because the blue-eyed goddess leopard, Tiani, my favourite leopard, my muse, hangs around that area. And we decided we were just going to track around. We're going to look for other animals. We'd stop for elephants and things like that, which is cool. Saw plenty of zebras. The light was pretty good. And one of the trackers from a nearby private homestead then had actually found Tiani. She was in, we got a good look at her, but there was a lot of grass around her. So there wasn't like this one where I got this perfect shot of her head up above the grass. So I did what I could and try to get a shot through the grass with the eye and things like that. And Nicole got video, but it's always incredible to see Tiani, and quite emotional for me because I've noticed since she was a cub back in 2016, 10 years ago. She's now 11 years old, but she made an impala kill. We were hoping to see her blue-eyed cub, who should be getting her name soon-ish. But she wasn't around. Maybe later on they called it in. It was in a little bit of we'd had this, again, there's so much rain that's been around. It's in a bit of a precarious area where you couldn't slosh around too much. So we got our sighting and then kind of got out there, travelled around and, just looking at, just the other general game. Another couple wanted to see if we could find rhino, so the guides and trackers tried to find rhino. Didn't have any luck then, but they had a few more days that they were going to stay. But we were driving along, we were looking it's getting late in the afternoon, see the most incredible storm cloud off in the distance with this lightning in it. It looked like an atomic bomb had gone off. It was just stunning. And I've seen other lodges that were not nearby. This is how big this storm cell was, but it was off in the distance, putting up video of this stuff. So if I can find any video that Nicole took with the camera and put it up there, but what a spectacle. And then off in the direction of the sunset, we had this incredible blazing sunset as well. And we were getting quite happy after seeing Tiani for that. But then we drove off, and we're literally going down this little decline into this dry riverbed, and right there was a tortoise-pan male. Now, he's the dominant male in the area. He will mate with all the females in his area, like Shadulu or Makamsava or Tiani. And there he was sitting there beautifully, and we were first on the sighting. And because everyone else was off doing other things in the area, we did call it in, see tortoise-pan. But at first, how we heard it, we heard this soaring or rasping. It's the sound that male lions make, like a territorial call. And at first we thought it was just Tiani off in the distance because we weren't that far from where she was, but no, it was tortoise-pan. And we ended up having tortoise-pan to ourselves for about 30 minutes. He got up, he walked around, he was scent marking, and we followed him along the road, scent marking, and then a couple of other vehicles came in, and literally within a minute or two after that, he veered off into one of the bush blocks there, which it was night time and hard to follow into, but absolutely amazing that we got that sighting of the big tortoise-pan male, the dominant male in that area. But got up the next morning and the weather had turned. It had been a lot of rain overnight, so we were just kind of driving around. We got general game and Let me see. What did we get? I'm trying to think. We went and we were trying to find lions. Now, the Nkahuma Pride is a very stable pride in that northern area of the Sabi Sands. And I've seen them many times over the years, the Nkahumas, but they crossed over into Manuletti to the north. And of course we can't go over there, and they were being followed by the Nzenga male lions. And it's quite unusual, but the first afternoon we were there, the morning drive before we got there, had seen them and the cubs, etc. And but they crossed over into Manuletti, and I guess Manuletti in the south, where we often are, got great sightings of the Nkahumas and the Nzengas, because apparently they were following some buffalo over there. So didn't get the lions this time. We heard that there were some wild dogs around, but we couldn't find those guys. But we were busy, you know. We had hippos and, as I said, the usual plains game and waterbuck and other things like that. So it was a nice drive, and overall it was a great experience. So we're going back again in this coming weekend. We just spent a weekend at Skakusa at the AHA Skakusa Safari Lodge, or it's just called Skakusa Safari Lodge. So we've had a break down into Kruger Main Park, and we're heading back for 4 nights into the Sabi Sands again, back at Elephant Plains, and we've already booked again for 4 nights next year, because if you want a long stay there, 3 to 4 nights, you've often got to book well ahead. It's very popular with safari photographic groups. So overall, another great experience at Elephant Plains, and can highly recommend. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.